I am a huge gamer. I am quite a big video game nerd. And one of the things that I realized is how similar life is to a video game, and also how helpful it is to actually treat life almost like a video game. And the parallels that I see are number one, right, in the best games, right, there is some form of progression, right? There's some form of confronting bosses, right? Confronting challenges, leveling up, right? Getting experience, defeating said bosses, and upgrading your gears, upgrading your stats, upgrading your skills. And if you take a look at life through the lens of a video game, you'll start to notice a lot of similarities, right? So, in the realms of, let's say, relationships, right? Or in your finances, right? Or in your career, or in your friendships, in your, just overall general kind of situation, right? When it comes to housing, right? Shelter, food. And I think there's a very positive aspect, right, to seeing life as a video game. And I think one of the main reasons for that is because there's always a sense of progression, right? There's always a sense of there's something that I can improve, right, in any aspect of my life, from relationships to finances to career, whatever it is, to spirituality, right, to becoming more of a whole, well integrated person. This is one way that I have started to think about life and has been really, really helpful is seeing that life gives you lessons, right? And you can almost think of these as sort of like checkpoints, right? So, like similar to the checkpoints that you would have in most video games, where you need to get to a certain level or defeat like a certain boss in order to progress forward. These lessons in life, they're essentially our life's checkpoint, right? Is to sort of help us understand and learn what we need to learn in order to progress, in order to get to the next stage of life. A really helpful question to ask yourself, right, if you have a challenging life situation, is what is life trying to teach me, right? What is the lesson that I need to learn in order to move beyond this, right? And the easiest example that I can give you, you probably know somebody, or maybe you've been in this situation yourself, is being in a relationship or relationships that do not serve you in one way or another, right? Maybe it's a very toxic sort of dynamic, or they're just things that aren't working out. And it doesn't end in that one relationship, right? If you look at the pattern in previous relationships in that one, you'll start to see some similarities, and that is baked into it a lesson, essentially, right? And some people don't figure it out for a long time, and they choose to stay in that sort of relationship, and they suffer for it. Other people are pretty quickly able to figure out what is not right, what they need to change about themselves, whether or not they need to get out of the relationship. And again, it's almost like a checkpoint. It's almost like a lesson that you need to really learn and understand for yourself in order to move past that. And a lot of the time, these lessons, these checkpoints are anchored into our unconscious, right? So we're not even fully aware what it is that we need to learn. And a lot of the times these patterns repeat themselves, especially early on from childhood, right? So it's examining those past experiences and understanding, why we are the person we are today, and then hopefully being able to change that. Seeing life as a sort of video game, it almost introduces an element of play into it. It almost introduces an element of not taking life so seriously. And I think there are a lot of positive things that come out of seeing the world and seeing life in that way, right? Because it reminds you that this is just a temporary game that we are all playing, and it's full of challenges, right? It's full of a lot of struggle, but it's also full of a lot of growth and a lot of beauty as well, and a lot of progression. So I think being able to take that point of view is supremely beneficial, because the biggest challenges that you're going to face ultimately lead to the most amount of growth as a person. The good news is this is not very difficult to do. In fact, I believe it's actually quite easy. is to start shifting the way that you view challenges and you view obstacles in your life into a more positive light, right? As instead of see them as things that hold you back, right? Things that keep you down, seeing them as stepping stones to growth and to transformation. And obviously, if you're a big fan of video games like I am, this will probably be a little bit easier because you kind of understand what I'm saying. But even if you're not, like there are many, many different ways to gamify all aspects of your life. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is seeing life through the lens of progression, seeing life through the lens of, incrementally growing, incrementally improving, and incrementally growing better, and also acknowledging that, you know, it's not always going to be sunshine and roses. It's not always going to be a steady climb up. Usually looks something like this, right? But if you keep the right attitude, right, if you keep sort of that frame in your mind, you'll start to realize and you'll start to notice the improvements, right? Sometimes drastic, sometimes small in every aspect of your life that, you're focusing on. This aspect of gamifying your life has been really beneficial for myself in my own life, especially through those very difficult, very challenging moments. For all the gamers out there and also non-gamers, I'd love for you to write in the comments down below, what your experience has been like, or even just like looking at different parts of your life and asking yourself, like, what are the parts that, I can start turning into almost like a video game, right? What are some things that I can start viewing instead of as unovercomable challenges or obstacles, asking, what are the lessons that I need to learn in order to progress through this stage of life and on to the next. So let me know in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you soon.